July railfanning started out with a bang because we went to railfan on July 4th, before the parade that goes through the center of our town started. However, the overpass that you can see in a lot of my shots at the depot was closed because of the parade, which meant I got to go up there to film trains. Let's go. The first train was that steel local freight that normally has the SD40-2s on it. I had thought that the SD40-2s had been replaced by those -9s, but it turns out they actually hadn't? I'm not 100% sure. When the train showed up, it was led by 3326, but trailed by an ACe. Where did 3517 go? I don't know where 3517 went. That's the answer. Of course, I couldn't miss the flyover with the two military jets that headed straight over the overpass. The second train was a Norfolk Southern mixed freight with a GEVO and a -9. And I could tell it was a -9 because it sprayed me with a crap ton of diesel fumes when it rolled underneath the bridge. This train had a ridiculous string of gondolas, with some GNTX, IHB, and CHTT gondolas together. There was also a Wisconsin Central boxcar before the end of the train rolled by. And then the third train showed up. Wait, that's BNSF! BNSF alert! BNSF alert! That aforementioned BNSF train consisted of a BNSF ACe in first and an H2 SD70 Mac in second. This locomotive is not as rare as the Executive Macs I hope to capture, and still haven't caught another one since I missed that one on the 4th. The 4th of March, not the 4th of July. In the parade itself, there was car number 34, a car disguised as a train, advertising Purdue University. My dad took these pictures as I missed taking pictures of this train when it rolled by me. 4 days later, we returned to the depot. My dad took us downtown to eat at a small diner for my grandpa's birthday, and we decided to make a short trip to the depot because Joanne wanted to see it. When we showed up, the depot guy was there, and he told us that the city of LaPorte was in a battle with Norfolk Southern to not demolish the depot. Ever since the depot had been abandoned in 2022 and turned into, well, nothing, as it used to be an office building, it's been slowly deteriorating ever since then. I really hope the depot survives because, it's the depot. However, we were here to see a train, and a train did eventually show up. It was CPKC, but annoyingly, it had Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern power at the front, in the form of a UP-GEVO and a Norfolk Southern AC-44. That was really annoying because CPKC just recently chose a paint scheme, and I was really hoping to catch some CP, but I'll take what I can get. On July 13th, we returned to the depot, and that maintenance equipment that was here briefly before was back. But as I'm sure you've noticed, it's not very sunny out. That's because we decided to go rail fanning at dusk. Why? Well, 2 reasons. 1, I wanted a different angle and lighting for my locomotives, and 2, because my mom knew that the Amtrak would be coming through. I didn't, and it was an absolutely terrifying shock when it did show up. But it wasn't the first thing we saw, because a Norfolk Southern mixed freight with 2 reactivated SD70M-2s was first. And now for that previously mentioned all aboard Amtrak. However, this Amtrak was a special Amtrak because it had a P42 DC at the helm and no new charger coaches. Oh boy, this will probably never happen again on this line, so I'm glad I caught it. Just as the rear lights of the Amtrak started to fade, the end of the SD70M-2 train rolled past. All aboard Amtrak. To my complete shock, after those ridiculous trains passed by, the signals were still green, indicating another westbound. But before that westbound could show up, an eastbound Norfolk Southern intermodal with a GEVO and -9 showed itself. And even better, the -9 was one of the significantly rarer horseless ones. Then, the westbound that the signal had been indicating showed up. It was a Norfolk Southern mixed freight with 2 -9s, and both of them were horseless. Well, that's certainly a weird coil shield. I also took this picture to fully maximize the epicness of being out at dusk. Then there was about 45 minutes with no trains, but those 45 minutes allowed time for it to get dark. Really dark. Before very long, we saw a light and heard a horn as a Norfolk Southern intermodal heading eastbound was going to race through. But this wasn't any normal Norfolk Southern intermodal. It had a NS ACe leading and another horseless Dash 9 in third. But what was in second? Oh boy. Well, the second engine was a glorious, rare, never before seen, at least for me, Ferromex ACe. But as the intermodal drew out of sight, another light showed up. A CPKC mixed freight with two ex-Canadian Pacific AC-44s at the helm. Unfortunately, you can't recognize it as such because of the lighting, but that's an ICG flat car. I also took some more pictures of the general cars on the train because I wanted some more epic shots in this lighting, as video and photo look drastically different. Soon enough, the end of the CPKC mixed freight was in sight, and we decided that since we were both absolutely tired, even though the signal was green, we were gonna let it rest for the day and go home. July 16th. Oh boy, what a day. We were going shopping that day, and my brother was gone, so we decided to make a trip to the depot, and that maintenance equipment was still there. It took 45 minutes for a train to finally show up, and when it did, it was a BNSF coal train with an ACe leading and a Tier 4 GEVO in second. So, nothing interesting. Ear-splitting horn salute in 3, 2, 1. On the way out after getting groceries, another train showed up. This one was a Norfolk Southern intermodal, led by a Dash 9, which was very dirty, and trailed by an extremely shiny AC-44. But since we still had more time to kill that afternoon, we went to Wellsboro Junction. And we didn't catch anything interesting at all. The first train was a CSX oil train on the CSX line, of course, with 3 GEVOs. But they were interesting GEVOs, because the first one was a Tier 4 GEVO, the second one was a Tier 3 GEVO, and the last one was an ES40DC, the oldest GEVO there is. Then we were surprised because a train, namely a mixed freight, showed up on the CN line with 2 CN GEVOs at the helm. Nothing interesting on the locomotive side of things, but it was on the CN line, something I've only seen once before. The consist on this train was actually pretty cool, consisting of a GTW coil shield, an old-style UP center beam, an actual true flat car, a TTX railgun, a SP marked but UP patched grain car. Then there was a CEFX blue covered gondola, and then a BN hopper. I rarely ever see these, so when I do, it's cool. Oh, and there was also random BNSF bear tables on the train. Oh, and an Illinois Central center beam. I think that's a center beam. And these cars, which carried pipes. This train's already ridiculous. Ooh, blue tanker. Not sure if it's rare, but man, does it look cool. Another BN hopper! Wait, is that another BN hopper? And its modern BNSF counterpart. Oh my god, another BN hopper! Oh my god, another BN hopper! Oh my god, how many are there on this train? Oh my god! And then the end of the train. On the second to last day of July, July 30th, we had to go shopping again, and so we headed to the depot once again. Well, before we went shopping. But while we were pulling in, a Norfolk Southern intermodal came through. I mean, there's nothing rare on it, so it's not like I'm disappointed to have not caught it. But, it was just another train I missed. Luckily, it wasn't the Executive Mac from last time. Just like had been the case back during my very first depot visits in May of 2022, there was some Conrail gondolas and a line of gondolas being used for maintenance. The first train we caught was a westbound Norfolk Southern intermodal, and it was flying, led by 2 aces, and it had a great horn too. Hey look, Depot Bird is back, or as my brother calls him, Depot Burb. There is also this track joiner just sitting there. Weird. The second train we caught was a Norfolk Southern intermodal with an AC-44 leading and a GEVO trailing. Again, it was flying. In contrast to those, the third train, which was also an intermodal, except this time a BNSF one, was crawling along. But the motive power was extremely interesting. 2 H2 GEVOs in the same lash-up, which is ridiculous. I have caught one H2 GEVO, and it was leading last time I caught it, and I thought that was cool. But 2 H2 GEVOs on the same train and going slowly so I could get a good look at them, well, that's just ridiculous. Not to mention the horn salute we got from the engineer. With that train rolling away and groceries obligating that we leave soon, well, we decided to. And, with there only being one day of July left, I didn't get to Railfan for the rest of the month, which was, again, only one day. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this documentary, and make sure to come back next time for another documentary just like this one.